Rich Rodriguez has more from Fresno, California.
For days, we've enjoyed seeing a panoramic view of snow in our foothills below 3,000 feet. But that picture postcard won't last long with an atmospheric river on the way.
In less than a week, we're going to put 6 to 8 inches of rain on top of that. This storm will be unlike any other weather event so far this season. It's just really important that we communicate the severity of this situation so you can stay safe and you can get ready.
Fresno County's Office of Emergency Services has been preparing for days, meeting with the Sheriff's Office, fire, public works, water districts, and utilities. The plan is to have emergency responders in place. Mejorado says sandbags are already available in Westside communities where flooding is likely from the San Joaquin River. The Kings River is already carrying a large volume of water. What can't be controlled are creeks that flow into the Kings below Pine Flat Dam.
They could reach up to more than 14,000 cubic feet per second, which is about 3 times more than is being released out of Pine Flat Dam right now. It is going to come with a vengeance into the river and find its way downstream all the way.
Right now, the river flow measures 8.5 feet east of Kingsburg. McFarland says once the rain starts, it could climb another 5 feet by this weekend.
Yosemite National Park is also preparing for the possibility of flooding. The park closed 10 days ago after repeated blizzards covered it in deep snow. Park officials now fear a heavy weekend rainfall could trigger a massive snow melt, and that's exactly what happened back in 1997. The Merced River and creeks overflowed, destroying bridges, roads, housing, and campgrounds. And the park, well, it didn't reopen for another 2 months. While most major roads across California have reopened since the storm, many are still trapped in smaller communities. And this is particularly true in the San Bernardino Mountains east of Los Angeles. Residents there are quickly running out of basic supplies, including food and medicine. So volunteer helicopter pilots are stepping in to help.
For me, I can make it up to the mountain there in about 7 minutes. It's a very, very quick flight back and forth. So we got supplies over there, ready to run them up. We can move really, really fast.
The county sheriff's department says they've already made more than 100 rescues in the mountains. And there's some positive effects from all the rain and snow in California. Meteorologist Ryan Mirando takes this look at how folks are finally seeing some relief from California's drought.
California really has had a wet season, and this is really helping out with their drought. This is the current drought monitor. Some areas along the coast and in the higher elevations not even experiencing a drought anymore. 6 months ago, though, in the beginning of September, there was so much higher drought. Some of the areas in that dark red, that's the exceptional drought, the highest level that there can be, and they're even expecting more rain and snow on the way over the next 5 days. In the higher elevations in the Sierra Nevada, they could get another 48 to 60 inches. Along the coast where it falls as rain, up to 3 to 6 inches through the Bay Area, down towards Santa Barbara, around 2 to 3 inches of rain on top of what's already been there this season. Now, this still affects everyone across the nation, as a lot of our food has been grown in California. Up to 1/3 of our vegetables, 3/4 of our fruits and nuts, to foods that we eat every day, like almonds, dairy products, and even all the way to wine. So when this is all said and done, it definitely is still a good thing.
While California's unusually cold temperatures and active weather are great for drought relief, they're not so great in other ways. Effects on agriculture can be a major problem, with crops and trees freezing or being overrun by all the water. A 6th-generation rancher tells our team in Redding that bees have also felt the full force of the storms.
Yeah, this has not been ideal weather for the trees and mainly for the bees. That's one thing that you might notice as you're driving along out by the orchards. You're not hitting all those bees like you normally would this time of year because they're not flying. So that's something that growers are really worried about. There hasn't been enough warm temperature for the bees to fly. So they're concerned that the pollination levels might not be what they normally would.
The colder temperatures have also meant grass isn't growing as it normally would this time of year. In spite of all the rain, this can affect cow ranchers in the region. In Utah, there are new concerns about the chance of nasty spring flooding there as warmer temperatures arrive. Some are comparing this season's weather to similar snowfall decades ago. The excess water that lingered into spring, Lincoln Graves has more.
When a record snowstorm buried Draper's Suncrest neighborhood last month, John Flint spent hours digging out. Was this the most snow he'd ever seen where he lived? He thought back to a time of flooding to remember.
We haven't had snow up here like this since probably the 2010, 2011, the winter that it snowed really bad, that we got all the flooding afterwards.
It's been another epic snow year with a very healthy snowpack. Does that mean flooding this year?
At some point, when we get in the spring months, that's all going to be melting and coming down into our creeks and rivers.
Glenn Merrill with the National Weather Service says how that snowpack comes down is all dependent on weather. A consistent, gradual warm-up through spring is ideal. A cool, wet spring that lasts into May is not.
Then we have an exceptionally robust snowpack, well above normal. And then all of a sudden we flip the switch and we go from a continuation of winter straight into summer.
Meaning lots of snow melts very quickly. It's the scenario that led to historic flooding in 1983. Water inundated many areas, but Utahns really remember downtown when sandbags lined city streets.
And it was like rivers running downtown. It was incredibly weird.
And then in the spring, it was just crazy. There were people fishing like on Main Street. I think it was Main Street or State Street, one of the two. Just so much water, like people were catching trout.
Well, it's a different story on the other side of the country where winter temperatures have been unusually mild and there's been limited snowfall. Ashley Hoke takes a look at how the unseasonably warm winter is affecting ski results in North Carolina.
Sugar Mountain Resort is looking to rebound after warmer temperatures the past few weeks. Officials with the village of Sugar Mountain, North Carolina, say it's been the warmest February on record, and the area has only received a third of its normal snowfall. Gunther Yokel, owner of Sugar Mountain Resort, says they are hopeful temperatures will drop below freezing and they can start making snow again soon.
We're still serious about March. I mean, we're looking at the forecast. There's some snow in the weather on Friday.
Tuesday, when we were out on the mountain, temperatures on the base were in the 50s, with 2 slopes and 1 lift open. But despite those warmer temperatures, skiers and snowboarders tell me they're still able to have some fun hitting the slopes.
There's really no such thing as a bad ski day, so we'll have fun. Maybe just leave a little earlier.
I haven't gone in like 15 years, so it's the perfect day to come out here with no one else really around, figure out how to do it again. Very slushy. At the top, it's a little bit muddy. Other than that, yeah, it's a little icy, but not bad.
If you watch this program regularly, you've heard us talk about crepuscular rays, or rays of sun that shine through gaps of dust or haze. Well, these crepuscular rays were captured on Mars. NASA says it's the first time they've been able to see them so clearly on the red planet. The Mars Curiosity rover captured the image during a Martian sunset as part of their new cloud imaging mission. Head for you here on the National Weather Desk. It's severe weather week for many parts of the country. We'll talk with an expert to find out more about how it got started and what it is. And we'll take a closer look at how lightning actually forms. As we go to break, shots of the Mohawk River in Amsterdam, New York.
Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. Temperatures look seasonable, if not a few degrees warmer than normal today. There'll be a lot of low to mid 40s. I don't think we'll see a ton of sunshine. Notice skies are brightest back into northern New Jersey, New York, and through southern New England. There's a big ocean storm to our east, and that's keeping some clouds from time to time during the afternoon. There may even be a brief rain or snow shower, especially in northern New England. There's a chance for a few rain and snow showers again on Thursday, and temps look seasonable around 40.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Temperatures going to be cold when we start off on our Wednesday. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s. By the afternoon, not a whole lot better. Some 40s from Maryland northbound, maybe some 50s central and southern Virginia. At least it comes with sunshine, as fair weather high pressure is our latest weather maker, but there's also going to be a chilly breeze, so make sure you've got a jacket handy with your sunglasses for midweek. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Venus Reed. Here's a look at your highs for the day. It looks like we're going to continue to see cooler temperatures up around Nashville, 58 degrees, 69 around Birmingham, 70 Macon, about 70 in Jacksonville, about mid to lower 80s across parts of Florida. So we're looking at some sun and clouds out there for the early part of the day. There could be some showers that move in over Memphis and then northern portions of Mississippi and Alabama. Could be some late afternoon showers in Florida, but things start to calm down overnight.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
In Virginia, smoke and haze made the sun seem like a red dot as seen not too far from the Kentucky line. Bristol meteorologist David Boyd says it's due to a U.S. Forest Service prescribed burn. Fire experts control these burns and use them for various reasons like wildlife habitat improvement and reducing wildfire risk. Now to Oregon, where high atmosphere ice crystals refracting light created this moon halo.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
It is Severe Weather Preparedness Week, but not everywhere. Emily Gracie spoke with the National Weather Service office in Kansas City to find out where it's occurring and why it happens at different times of the year, depending on where you live.
Here in Kansas and Missouri, we partner with local and state emergency management officials to remind people that it's time to be thinking about severe weather, thinking about how they're going to take shelter, especially when tornado warnings are issued.
Something that may be confusing to people is the fact that there are severe weather preparedness weeks that are happening at different times in different places across the country. Is that effective, or do you think it would be more effective to have it all one week?
I think it is effective to vary the time by where you're at in the country. We try to do it climatically. So we're just on the eve of our peak severe weather season. So we want to have that refresher before the bulk of our severe weather happens. Down in Florida, I'm sure they have much different time frames that they're dealing with. They're down in Texas, for instance. And certainly I know I used to work in Rapid City, South Dakota. Severe weather up there didn't even begin until June. That would be far too late for us. So I think it is good that we kind of vary the times around the country to try to match when we generally see severe weather occur.
What are some kind of quick tips for finding that perfect spot to go if a tornado warning is issued?
Get as low as possible and an interior as possible. So putting as many walls between you and the tornado that you can. We tell people if you have a basement, absolutely get in the basement. If you don't have a basement, it's not like all hope is lost. Most people, even in the most devastating tornadoes, if they get into an interior room on the lowest level, they can survive.
I always make my kids put on their bike helmets during a tornado warning. Is that a good idea, or is that kind of pointless?
You know, that's a great idea because it's the flying debris that tends to injure and kill most people. So anything you can do to protect yourself. The other thing, though, something people I think overlook a lot, that old pair of tennis shoes you were going to throw away, go ahead and store those down where you seek shelter. Because if your home is hit and it's in the middle of the night, there's a good chance you're going to be barefoot. You're going to be awfully glad if you're trying to crawl up out of the rubble that you've got shoes on your feet.
To find out when Preparedness Week is observed in your state, go to YouTube. There's a longer version of this interview, along with a link to that list. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on your screen. And as we head into spring, lightning can be a real risk. But how exactly do those bolts of electricity form? To find out, we turn to meteorologist John Gum in Cincinnati.
Well, spring is lightning season, and lightning is one of the biggest killers across the nation. So just how does lightning form? Well, it all starts with positive and negative charges. Positive charges on the ground, negative charges up at cloud level. Of course, these two attract. So what you start to get is what we call a stepped leader that begins to come down from the cloud. Those negative charges, those electrons start to line up. Of course, they're attracted to the positive charges there. Eventually, what happens is the leader nears the ground, and those positive charges on the ground start to flow upward. As these two come together, they merge, and a powerful electric current flows in between them. And what we see is the return stroke. And I'll tell you, this thing travels at about 60,000 miles per second. That's your lightning bolt. And this process may repeat over and over. And that's how we get that flash of lightning on and off. This whole thing only takes about a second.
And from lightning to when spring actually starts. This morning's lessons continue in a segment we call Social Meteorology. It's where we share social media posts from some of our 200 meteorologists across the nation. We begin in Providence, Rhode Island, where Christina Ernie is talking about when spring starts.
Some claim we're already in spring, while others say it is not quite here yet. So who's right? The answer? Both. Meteorological spring has started. That starts on March 1st. Meteorological seasons, by the way, are based on annual temperature cycles. So meteorological spring are the months of March, April, and May. However, astronomical seasons are based around Earth's position as it rotates around the sun. And that is March 20th. That is our vernal equinox.
Hey guys, this is your friendly reminder that we are going to be springing forward this weekend as we begin daylight saving time. Now, as a mom, I am not looking forward to losing that hour of sleep, but this is a good time of the year to start catching up on some things that you might have not done in a while. This weekend, you can change the batteries in your smoke and carbon monoxide detector. This is also a good time to maybe change your air filters, and if you don't have one, a weather radio. It's a great thing to have. This is a good time to set it up, make sure it's ready as we start to approach severe weather season.
I'm gonna start off by talking about what a watch is. I went with the pizza toppings, just spice things up a little bit. So a watch just pretty much means that hazardous weather is possible. So all of those ingredients are there, they're just not together yet. So it allows you enough time to prepare to take action, get ready for whatever's about to hit, get inside, take shelter, get your kit ready. And then you have the warning, which means you need to take action right now. So all of those pizza toppings are now on the pizza, on that crust. All of them are combined. And so that hazardous weather is occurring, likely occurring, or imminent. So you've got to get inside. You've got to take shelter. If it's a tornado warning, you need to get into an interior closet or bathroom with no windows. You've got to protect yourself, and you've got to take that action now. And then just that friendly reminder to stay in that little shelter area, that protective area, until that warning expires or gets canceled.
The cherry blossoms surrounding the Washington, D.C. tidal basin getting close now to full bloom. Most of those Yoshino cherry trees are at what's known as Stage 3. The blooms happen in 5 stages. The National Park Service says the colder weather in the coming days will actually help meet their peak bloom prediction date, which is 2 weeks from today.
The next 10 days of the forecast are chilly temperatures. High temperatures only in the 40s or low 50s. And that's going to slow the process down. So I think it's, knock on wood, I think it's fair to say we're still looking at the 22nd to the 25th.
And the National Cherry Blossom Festival begins March 20th right here in Washington, D.C. Where you are, maybe you're getting your first glimpses of spring. That's not the case, though, in Metro Anchorage, Alaska. And that's good, because the most famous dog sledding race just got underway there Sunday, the Iditarod. This year, though, the smallest number of competing teams, just 33. The racers will sled almost 1,000 miles from Anchorage all the way to Nome. Time for a quick break, but before we go, Let's take to the skies over the Grand Strand, North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest for the day today. We've got some snow showers across the northern plains here and some rain across the south here into Missouri. Now, tomorrow, that kind of expands a little bit. We've got snow across most of the northern plains, rain across the south, and then that moves over towards the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes as we head into your Friday, while the plains feels a little drier weather on Friday.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're starting off cloudy with some sprinkles down to the south into the 60s, but you get up here north into the 30s and 40s from Oklahoma City back over to Amarillo. Cold front still diving down toward the south. It's weak, but it's enough to fire up some rain across North Texas. Down to the south, it'll be warm and humid with breaks for sunshine and temperatures running a bit above the normal. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia, and that's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Desert Southwest, we've got spring training, of course, underway in southern Arizona. A perfect 77 around Peoria and into Phoenix this afternoon versus 25 cold degrees out of Jackson Hole. San Francisco back into the low 50s. More snow on the way for the Sierra Nevada as if they need more. Next weather maker is going to be this big area of low pressure rolling down the west coast through Oregon and California. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
To mark International Women's Day, we're highlighting a woman who made a real name for herself in the field of meteorology. Here's Emily Gracie with more.
Joanne Simpson was born in Boston in 1923 and became fascinated by weather while sailing and watching the clouds as a young child. She attended the University of Chicago, where she studied under Carl Gustav Rossby, best known for identifying Rossby waves. She got her master's degree and then went on to become the first American woman to obtain a PhD in meteorology in 1949. Her fascination with the clouds never went away. In fact, her research was centered around the movement of clouds from the tropics to the mid-latitudes. She developed models that demonstrated how important clouds were in driving tropical circulation. Dr. Simpson encountered roadblocks throughout her career in a male-dominated field, but she persisted in the academic world as well as the government sector, eventually becoming NASA's lead weather researcher. She received many awards, including AMS's Carl Gustav Rossby Research Medal in 1983 for outstanding contributions to man's understanding of the structure of the atmosphere. Joanne Simpson passed away in 2010 at the age of 86.
Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll debunk some common weather myths. I'm Dave Lucas. Make it a great Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.